Alright, to finish up our last problem, we were looking at 5/6 take away 1/3. And the reason that our answer would be 3/6 is because 2/6 and 1/3 are equivalent values. And so we're taking that equivalent value away and we have our 3/6 remaining. Now, if we want to illustrate multiplication, let's say that you have 1/3 and you want to multiply that by 1/6. Let's find the 1/6. And what I want to do with that 1/6 is I want to divide it into thirds. Now I only want to deal with this 1/3, but I'm going to continue and see how many parts that would be. So if I divide each of these 6 into thirds, then I'm going to have 18 of them in all, and I only want 1/18. So I want 1/3 of 1/6, and that would be this part right here. I want 1/3 of this 1/6 section. But in all, there are 18 parts, and we're going to take one of those. Alright, let's look at another example. If we have 1/2 of 1/3. So let's take our 1/3 piece and we're going to divide it in a half. And we're going to do that with each of the 1/3 sections, dividing it in 1/2. And I want 1/2 of that 1/3. But there are altogether 6 pieces, and I'm going to take one of those. So that's how we can illustrate multiplication. So if we have, let's say that we want to multiply 3/4 times 2/5. Sometimes I think it's easier to draw it out. So this is the 2/5. And I'm going to take 3/4 of these 2/5. So that means that I have to divide each fifth into 4 parts. And I'm going to take 3 of them. And I keep dividing each of these into fourths. So altogether there are 20 sections, and I'm taking 6 of them. Alright, let's do 2/3 times 4/5. So I'm looking at 4/5, which is here. And I'm going to divide each of these into thirds. And I'm going to take 2 of those. I'm only looking at 4/5, taking 2/3 of 4/5. So I've got altogether, I have 15 parts, but I'm only going to take 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. Alright, how we illustrate division. Let's say that we have 1/2 and we want to divide it into 6. So there's 1/2. And there's our 6. And what we want to do is see how many 6 there would be in 1/2. So there would be 1, 2, 3. And that is the answer. How many 6 are there in 1/2? Or we want to divide 1/2 into 6. And there would be 3 of them. Oh, you haven't been able to see that. I'm sorry. So we have 1/2 and we have 6. And we see how many 6 there are in 1/2. And there are 3. Alright, let's look at another example. Let's say that you have 5/6 and you want to divide that into thirds. So here is 5/6. And we want to see how many thirds there are in 5/6. So let me get out the 5, 6 so you can see, because the way I have this drawn, it's not going to show it as well as if I have the original pieces. So let me find, here is 5, 6, and here is the 1/3. So I'm looking at 5, 6 divided by 1/3. So I have 1 goes to here. 2, and then I have a half left over. So I have 1, 2, and a half. One, 2, and a half of a third left over. Alright, let me illustrate another one. We have 3/4, and we want to divide that by 1/2. So let me see. Here is 3/4. And here is the 1/2. So you can see that I would have 1 whole, and I would have a half of another. Now we can also use these for estimation. So let's say that we have a whole and 3/4, or 1 3/4. And I want to divide that into thirds. So I want to see how many thirds there would be. So I can estimate that there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit more. So it would be approximately 5. So we can use that for estimation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little more. Or did I count that right? Let me count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, a little bit more than 5. So we can use estimation. also use our fraction bars to help us decide which is greater or which is less. Is 3/4 greater than 11/12, or is 3/4 less than 11/12? And so by looking at our fraction bars, if we find this would be 11/12, and this is 3/4. So I can see that 3/4 is less than 11/12. And so we can use our fraction bars as a comparison tool and help us in ordering our fractions from least to greatest. Alright, I want to give you some problems to illustrate, and you may need to draw them. And I want you to illustrate them like you would if you were teaching your class. Using the manipulatives, do these computations for lab 5.3. So attach those in Blackboard.